Now available on Kickstarter, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this all-new Kickstarter exclusive John Haynes comic book. Put in your pledge and get the standard, variant, or retro covers of John Haynes at Death's Door and other great stretch goal rewards on Kickstarter today. A black pastor was robbed at gunpoint in the middle of a service he was live streaming in Brooklyn, and the entire robbery was caught on video. And in this incident at the Ramson Avenue Church in Canarsie, Brooklyn, Bishop Lamar Whitehead was live streaming a service which 100 congregants were attending when the door of the back room was kicked open and several individuals carrying guns pointed them at the bishop and then proceeded to take all of his jewelry. Now, after taking the bishop's jewelry, these individuals decided to flee in a Mercedes. However, many witnesses saw the license plate of this vehicle, and they also saw these individuals take off their masks after proceeding to participate in the robbery. Now, the police are seeing this robbery of this church as another incident in New York City's ongoing escalation of crime. However, when I take a critical examination of this robbery of this church in Brooklyn, it is basically many in the black community reaping what they sowed as related to the children of the corn that they wound up raising here in New York City. Now, when it comes down to the robbing a church, this is something that would be considered to be audacious because most people in the black community hold the church at high regard. Unfortunately, many of these children of the corn, they don't hold the church in high regard due to the dysfunctional way they were raised by many of the black women inside of the black community. Now, what's really interesting here is that many of these black women will go out of their way to support the church every Sunday, but they won't follow the Bible that is in that church that is taught by that black pastor. And the Bible states that you are supposed to train up a child in the way that they should go so that when they get old that they won't depart from it. Unfortunately, your modern day black woman has not done a good job of raising black boys in the way that they should go under the Most High and to understand the laws and commandments of the Most High. And that's the reason why this church wound up reaping what it sowed, because your black females who attend these churches didn't go out here and make an effort to teach the gospel to their sons so that they could go out here and be men of God. And because these boys did not learn how to become men of God, they went out here and became these children of the corn who have absolutely no respect for the Most High, and they went into the church of the Most High and looked to spoil the goods of that church by going out here and binding the strong man who really was the black pastor. Now, the black pastor was supposed to be the strong man who was supposed to teach the word of God, but it seems like he didn't go out here teaching the word of God, and this is why this church wound up being the target of this crime. Now, this pastor, he liked to go out here and dress up in a lot of flashy jewelry and expensive watches, and he went out here putting on all of this expensive jewelry for his live streams for his church, and he didn't really understand that he was, again, making a target of himself, and he was making a target of himself because he was sending a message to that community that he was not interested really in serving that community. No, because he wasn't looking to serve the community and look to invest in those black boys to help them become men of God, what happened was he wound up sadly reaping what he sowed, later than he sowed, greater than he sowed, and the black community wound up reaping what it sowed because, again, they did not invest in the men of that community, and that's how you got these dysfunctional males who grew up with no respect for God, no reverence of God, because they entered God's house and disrespected God by going in there to target this pastor for a robbery. But they're reaping what they sowed again, because the seeds for all this come from that black woman who is the primary supporter of that church. And she's out here supporting the church, but not following the word of God by training up these children in the way that they should go. Now, in addition to the church reaping what it sowed, the politicians in New York City are also reaping what they sowed as related to this heinous crime, because it is their ongoing support and investment in black pathology that led to these criminals winding up participating in this audacious and heinous crime. Because of the leftists out here going out here and creating policies like bail reform and trying to give a pass to Pookie and Ray Ray, this is what is emboldening these individuals like this to go out here and go out here and feel justified in going out here and committing a crime against the church, because the government won't hold the Pookies and the Ray Rays accountable. Your Pookies and your Ray Rays have no sense of boundaries, and because they have no sense of boundaries, they believe that they have the right to go out here and do whatever they please, including going out here and targeting a church for a robbery. Now, even during the dark days of the 1980s, during the crack epidemic, people wouldn't have the gall to go out here and try to rob a church. Even back then, even as crack was ravaging the city and we had over 2,000 murders, nobody wanted to go out here and pull a stick up in a church. However, in this age of the leftists and their attempts to enable Pookie and Ray Ray, we get people who believe that they have the ability to go out here and rob a church and have the audacity to do this while the video is being live streamed all across the world. This just shows, again, how low the moral position is in the black community and how the direction of the race is going in a downward spiral. Because when you have people who have no respect for the Most High or the Most High's house, it shows you that those people's moral position is at a level that's so low that an ant can scratch on the back of it. So when I look at this whole situation here as related to this robbery of this church, again, it shows me what happens when a community invests in a low moral position, and it also shows me what happens when you go out here and you invest in Pookie and Ray Ray. When you invest in children of the corn like Pookie and Ray Ray, what Pookie and Ray Ray do is they don't go out here to become upstanding citizens. No, Pookie and Ray Ray go out here and terrorize a community, and they terrorize a community to the point where they have no respect for God, they have no respect for God's house, and they have no respect for the followers of the Most High. And these individuals, they show us how little respect that they have, and all of that disrespect was taught to them at an early age by the very same females who raised these boys on their own and had the nerve to go out here and say they could raise a boy to be a man. Well, we see the males you have raised have grown up to become children of the corn, and these children of the corn show how little regard they have for the Creator who created them by going into his house and going to terrorize his congregants, terrorize his followers. I mean, it just shows how these children of the corn, again, are the purest evil. But sadly, this is the black community reaping what it sowed, later than it sowed, greater than it sowed, by going out here and supporting things like the feminist movement and the welfare state. And they've gone out here and created these Pookies and Ray Rays who have gone out here and terrorized a church. And either these Pookies and Ray Rays are either dumber than a box of rocks, or they just didn't care, because they went out here, participated in this robbery during this live stream, and did this knowing that they were being filmed. And even though they had masks on, they still were being filmed, and this is admissible evidence that can be brought to court, along with the license plate that everybody saw. These guys were so, as I see it, stupid. They don't even understand that they have basically made a case against themselves that is open and shut. And if the police go out here and catch these individuals and they manage to not get let go as related to bail reform, these guys are going to be going to jail for an extended period of time. Then they're going to be going to prison, where they're going to wind up meeting your Bubba and your Tiny, and they're going to wind up being traded for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, cans of Dr. Pepper, 6-pack Oreo cookies, fudge rounds, and other assorted commissary. And all of this will be their own fault, because these guys were just too stupid to understand that robbing a church where you're being live streamed, driving off in a car where the license plate was already been recorded by most people on their smartphones, this crime that you did to get to go after this pastor, you are going to reap a bitter harvest as a result of it. And sadly, this all happens because, again, the worst stewards of children created these children of the corn, and these children of the corn have shown us how low our society is falling. Because when you have males who go out here and rob a church, it shows how those males have absolutely no respect for God. But the reason why they have no respect for God is due to the way they were raised inside of that single-parent home. And because they were raised in that single-parent home to have no respect for God, this is why they have the audacity to go out here and rob a church. I mean, I look at this whole situation. I mean, these people put a gun in front of a baby's face. I mean, this just shows how twisted these individuals are, and it shows us how there's a complete collapse of the American family, and a complete collapse of the American family due to the fact that the family doesn't understand God's natural order. And again, we keep supporting and enabling Pookie and Ray Ray instead of holding Pookie and Ray Ray accountable and holding his mother accountable to a standard in our community. And if we don't start holding him to a standard, we're going to continue to see individuals like this believe that they have a right to go out here and commit more heinous crimes. And the reason why they believe they can go out here and commit more heinous crimes is because we, the people, won't set a standard for our community. We, the people, won't set boundaries for our community. And we, the people, won't make our politicians set a standard for behavior and conduct, because the reason why Pookie and Ray Ray believe they could go out here and rob a church is because many in the black community, they want to make excuses for black pathology. They want to give a pass to black pathology. They want to make excuses for black pathology, and they want to sit here and say, okay, he's doing this because he is poor. No, he's doing this because he was not taught good moral values. He was not given a moral position. This is why Pookie and Ray Ray are doing this, and we need to get out of this leftist idea that we need policies like bail reform. No, we have to punish your Pookies and your Ray Rays and hold them accountable if we want to go out here and have people living by a standard of the Most High. Because only a demon goes out here and believes that they have a right to steal, and only a demon believes that they have a right to go out here and steal from a member of the church. and steal from a man of God. That's how sick these guys are. And again, when you're dealing with this whole society, I really, again, see it as the people, again, reaping what they sowed, because this Pookie and this Ray Ray, who have the audacity to go into this black church, this is a result of how we raise boys to become men, and it's a result of your black female being neglectful of her sons, because she's the one who raised these boys to become the children of the corn, who went out here and terrorized a church in the middle of a service. Now, if you want to learn more about how males like this become dysfunctional, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me do more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American